Very good morning, everybody. This is Dr.Goparaju from India. Right. So basically, in this specific video, I am going to explain you a recent empirical study I have conducted on entrepreneurship and leadership. On entrepreneurship and leadership. So basically, the main objective of this research is to find out what is the relationship between leadership style and entrepreneurial experience, and what is the relationship between personality type and the entrepreneurial experience. See, basically, why this is because, see, an enterprise success, an enterprise profitability, and an enterprise effectiveness depends on the leadership style and personality type of the entrepreneur. Right? So, because of this reason, I would like to study what is the relationship between leadership style and entrepreneurial experience, and what is the relationship between personality type and entrepreneurial experience, right? So to study basically this specific research is an empirical study I have conducted recently. This consists of only three different variables. One is leadership style, second variable is the personality type. These two are the independent variables, and the dependent variable is the entrepreneurial experience. Right. So let's move on and see the model. Right. So basically, in this presentation, I will be explaining you what are the main research questions, what is the conceptual model I have designed, how I developed the questionnaire, what items I considered in the questionnaire, and how I collected the data, data analysis and findings I will be explaining you. And further I will be giving you what is the implications to the industry and implication to the research community. And further what is the scope for this research also I will be explaining you. Right. So basically in this specific research, as I told you, there are three different variables. One is leadership style of the entrepreneur, and the second one is the personality type, and the third, that is the dependent variable, that is the entrepreneurial experience. Right. Under leadership styles, as I told you, leadership style and personality type are independent variables. Right. Entrepreneurial experience is the dependent variable. So under leadership styles, I considered 7 different leadership styles. That is participative leadership style, consultative leadership style, and consensus leadership style, democratic, autocratic leadership style, transactional leadership style, transformational leadership style. So like this 7 different leadership styles I have considered in the leadership styles. And among personality types, I considered whether that person is an introvert or extravert. Right. Under entrepreneurial experience, as a dependent variable, consolidated dependent variable, it has items such as entrepreneurial intention, really starting a enterprise, profit making, how much is the profit made, and are ending up in losses of the enterprise. These are based on these 4 different items I will be measuring entrepreneurial experience. Those 4 different items are having entrepreneurial intention, really starting a enterprise, are ending up in profits, are ending up in losses. These are the 4 different items based on which I will be measuring the entrepreneurial experience. Right. So let's move on. What are the specific research questions? Specific research questions are, I would like to study what is the which leadership style is related to the entrepreneurial intention. Which leadership style is related to the entrepreneurial intention? Which leadership style is related to actually starting an enterprise? Which leadership style is resulting into profits of the enterprise? Which leadership style is resulting into the losses for the enterprise? No, among all the leadership styles, I considered 7 different leadership styles I want to study. Right. So second, another one is among personality types, whether introvert or extravert have effect over the entrepreneurial experience. What is that effect? That also, these are the research questions I started with. Right. Let's move on. This is the literature I have gathered on leadership styles, and, Dublin. Next, entrepreneurial leadership on Karmarkar, Chabra and Deshpande 2014. Next, Paladin research on what is the effect of leadership style on quality and customer satisfaction. Another literature I gathered is the Felix Aparico and Urbano. This is a study on effect of leadership styles related to entrepreneurial activity and GDP. Next is the another study on leadership style. So this is basically a leadership and entrepreneurial related literature I have gathered. Right. Let's move on and see what the conceptual model I have designed. What is the conceptual model I have designed? Right. This specific conceptual model, as I told you, it consists of three different variables. This leadership style and personality type are the independent variables, and entrepreneurial experience is the dependent variable. So under leadership styles, I have seven different styles, right? Under personality type, I have introvert or extravert. And entrepreneurial experience, I am measuring using the four different items, that is entrepreneurial intention, starting a venture, making profits, or ending up in losses. Right. What is our objective? Our objective is to find out which leadership style is related to entrepreneurial intention. Similarly, which leadership style is related to starting a venture really? Which leadership style is related to making profits? Which leadership style is related to ending up in losses? These are our main research questions. Right. So let's move on and see the hypothesis. So these are the null hypothesis I have designed. First I started with there is no relationship between leadership style and entrepreneurial experience. Similarly, another hypothesis is there is no relationship between personality type and entrepreneurial experience. No, just showing the relationship between independent variable and the dependent variable. Right. What are the sub hypotheses? Sub hypotheses, digging down into the further items. Right. There is no relationship between leadership style and entrepreneurial intention. There is no relationship between leadership style and really starting a venture. There is no relationship between leadership style and profit making. Similarly, there is no relationship between leadership style and ending up in losses. And similarly, another one is there is no effect of personality type over the entrepreneurial experience. So these are the sub hypotheses I have defined. Right. So let's move on and learn, how I designed the questionnaire. So this is the survey item, survey questionnaire. So basically it is very simple. There are only three variables in this specific research model, conceptual model. As you know, leadership has got 7 different items, personality types has got 2 different items, and entrepreneurial experience has got 4 different items. Right. So using this, I have designed the put together 7 plus 2 plus 4, that is 13 items are part of the questionnaire I have designed. Right, 13 items. So all these 13 items, respondents were asked to rate on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. Right. So how I collected the data? Let's move on. This is about questionnaire. Let's move on. How I collected the data. Right. In a session, my session participants, there were around 138 participants. I have provided the link of the questionnaire which I uploaded in the Google Forms to these participants in chat box when I was taking a session, and I could receive 35 responses from the respondents. Right. So based on these 35 responses, I have done the data analysis. Right. So let us see the data analysis. As I told you, there are 3 different variables, right? First one is leadership style. Second one is personality type. These two are the independent variables, and dependent variable is the entrepreneurial experience. So according to the correlation matrix, what is the result we have got? Correlation matrix. See this. So the leadership style is positively correlated to entrepreneurial experience, but it is average correlation. 0.31 it is coming. Similarly, personality type is also positively correlated to the entrepreneurial experience. Correlation coefficient value is a 0.52. That means it is a stronger relationship to compare with leadership style. That means personality type is having stronger relationship to compare with leadership style with the entrepreneurial experience. Similarly, the personality type also is positively correlated to the leadership style being used. that is whether introvert or extrovert is also positively correlated to the leadership style being used. That is 0.4 is the correlation coefficient value. That means there are positive correlations between these variables, right? So now let us see what is the regression finding. What is the effect of leadership style on entrepreneurial experience? Similarly, what is the effect of personality type on entrepreneurial experience? We will see. See, this is the regression table. So let us see the p-value. P-value, so specific to personality type, just see it is less than 0.05. That is 0.0068 is there, less than 0.05. It is indicating that personality type has got effect over the entrepreneurial experience. Personality type has got effect over the entrepreneurial experience, significant effect, right? So let's move on. This is the another correlation matrix, put together all the 13 items which are considered in the questionnaire. 13 items, right? Inter item correlations are there. Just check the inter item correlations. If you see, for with respect to entrepreneurial intention, all the variables, all the leadership styles have positive correlation with entrepreneurial intention except consultative and consensus style of leadership. All the leadership styles, see this, participative, consultative, consensus, democratic, autocratic, transactional and transformational. Among all these 7 leadership styles, all are correlated to positive correlation except consensus and consultative. These two are negatively correlated to the entrepreneurial intention. Entrepreneurial intention, what is the meaning of it? Because see, consultative is negatively correlated to entrepreneurial intention, because the respondents thought that if they tell their idea to somebody, the idea will be leaked. So that is the reason consultative approach resulted into negative correlation with the entrepreneurial intention. Similarly, consensus also, sometimes entrepreneurs should have the gut feeling of going ahead. Sometimes there will be difference of opinion among the team members, right? So because of that also, if you try to achieve the consensus among the members, that is related to negatively correlated to the entrepreneurial intention. Because of these two reasons, consultative and consensus, these two are negatively correlated to entrepreneurial experience. Similarly, entrepreneurial intention. Similarly, see this extravert. Extravert is also having negative correlation with the entrepreneurial intention, because it is statistically it is proven that, see, basically introverts are having more intention to start an enterprise, whereas really starting enterprise is done by the extroverts. Really starting enterprise more is done by the extroverts. Extroverts are not having the intention as the introverts are having, but really starting is more by the extroverts. Really starting an enterprise, their intention is less, but they are starting more enterprises, extroverts, right? That is the research finding. That is right. So next, another negative correlation resulted is for consultative only. Consultative is, see this negative correlation minus 0.11. That is consultative style of leadership style is resulting into negative correlation with making profits. Consultative style of leadership style is negatively correlated to making profits. Because the idea is getting leaked. So because of the consultations, that is their perception. Because of that, it resulted into negative correlation with the making profits. So remaining our leadership styles are positively correlated to making profits, right? See, I will tell you in findings also. This is just I am showing you the regression matrix. Similarly, if you see, extroverts are having stronger correlation values with respect to all the entrepreneurial experience to compare with introverts. That means extroverts are having really starting the enterprises more. Extroverts are encountering more profits and also ending up in more losses also. These three put together, if you say entrepreneurial experience, extroverts are having is resulting into better entrepreneurial experience, right? So let's move on. I will the findings. See, basically, within the consolidative variable entrepreneurial experience, let us take each item. That is entrepreneurial intention. Entrepreneurial intention. See, basically intention is there for everybody. It is positively correlated, except consultative consultative and consensus style of leaders are negatively correlated to the entrepreneurial intention. Entrepreneurial intention, right? So let's move on. Another one, really starting a venture. Which leadership style people are really starting a venture? Everybody is all leadership styles people are really starting a venture. However, democratic style of leaderships are having stronger correlation with the really starting a enterprise. That means democratic style of leaders are starting more enterprises, right? So another one, third item, what is that? Making profits. Let us see here which leadership style is really making profits. No, all leadership styles are making profits except consultative style of leaders are negatively correlated to making profits. Consultative style of leadership is negatively correlated to making profits, right? So let's move on and see fourth item, ending up in losses. Ending up in losses, all the leadership styles are positively correlated to ending up in losses. Anybody can encounter loss. However, autocratic leaders are having stronger correlation with the ending up in losses. That means if autocratic leaders, if they are not careful, there is more signs that they may end up in losses of their enterprise. Autocratic leaders can encounter losses, financial losses for their enterprise. This is one of the research finding, right? Now let us see. So far we have learned, right, what is the which leadership style is related to entrepreneurial intention. Which leadership style is related to really starting a venture? Which leadership style is resulting into making profits? Which leadership style is resulting into making losses? So far we have seen, right? Let's move on and see what is the effect of personality type over the entrepreneurial experience. Personality type. See, basically if you see personality type, introverts are having positive correlation but lower positive correlation with all the four items of the entrepreneurial experience. With all the four items of the entrepreneurial experience, whether it is really having intention or really starting a venture or ending up in profits or losses, with all four items they are having correlations, but they are lower correlations, introverts, right? Whereas extroverts, their intention to start is negative correlation, whereas really starting a ventures, their extroverts are starting more number of startups than the introverts. Really starting a venture. So that is one of the finding of this research. And also the extroverts correlation coefficient values are more stronger for all the variables except the entrepreneurial intention. They are stronger, right? So let's move on and see what is the leadership styles being used by the introverts. Introverts are using consensus type, democratic, autocratic style of leadership styles are being used by the introverts. Similarly, introverts are not using participative or consultative or transformational leadership styles. Transformational leadership styles. Whereas extroverts are more tend to use participative, consultative, and transactional leadership styles. Extroverts are more tend to use participative, consultative, and transactional style of leadership styles. Right. So these are the other findings with respect to the personality type effect over the entrepreneurial experience, right? So now let's move on. Let us summarize the findings. What is the summary of the findings? Basically, among all the leadership styles considered, democratic leadership style is having higher correlation values with the entrepreneurial experience. Democratic style of leaderships are having higher correlation relationship with the entrepreneurial experience, with all the four items of the entrepreneurial experience, right? Next, consultative style of leaders are, as a entrepreneurial experience is a consolidated variable, consultative style of leadership is having negative correlation with the entrepreneurial experience. Negative correlation with the entrepreneurial experience. Similarly, extroverts are resulting into better entrepreneurial experience. Extroverts are resulting into better entrepreneurial experience, right? So if you take, as you know, what are the independent variables? There are 9 items, 7 items in the leadership style, 2 items in the personality type. So total 9 items. Out of 9 items, if we see the correlation with the entrepreneurial experience as a consolidated variable, all items are experiencing positive correlation with the entrepreneurial experience except consultative style of leadership, which is showing the negative correlation with the entrepreneurial experience. So this is the overall summary of the findings. That means democratic style of leadership is giving better entrepreneurial experience, and consultative is because of these people are thinking that entrepreneurs are thinking that their ideas may be leaked, that is going to be resulting into the negative correlation with the entrepreneurial experience, right? And extroverts are having better entrepreneurial experiences, right? So let's move on and see what are the implication for the industry and also for the research community. What are the implication for the industry? So basically this research is useful for venture capitalists. For example, a venture capitalist wants to fund an enterprise startup, based on the leadership style and personality type of the entrepreneur of the startup, they can decide whether they can fund this entrepreneur or not. Now this research is useful for that enterprise, right? Similarly, large corporations, if they want to find out who are the entrepreneurs who can promote within the organization, to take the decision, they can find out entrepreneurs for their organization based on this research. They can find out what is the leadership style of this specific person and what is his personality type and correlate it with the findings, right? So next, similarly, manpower consulting firms, usually sometimes what happens is some of the startup, they look for co-founders. So so in these kind of scenarios, manpower consulting firms, they can use this research in finding co-founders for some of the startups, right? In that way, this specific research is useful for the industry. It is useful for venture capitalists, it is useful for organizations, large huge corporations, and also it is useful for the manpower consulting companies or human resources consulting companies, right? Let us see what are the implication to the research community. So basically this specific research is has considered 3 different variables, that is leadership styles, personality type, and entrepreneurial experience, and the findings can be added to the body of knowledge of the entrepreneurship or leadership, right? The findings can be added to the body of knowledge of entrepreneurship and also the leadership. Okay, so let's move on and see what is the scope for further study. What is the scope for further study? See, basically we have considered leadership styles and personality type, what is their effect over the entrepreneurial experience, right? So instead of that, we can further we can extend the research, like what is the relationship between born leader and entrepreneurial experience? What is the relationship between trained leader and entrepreneurial experience? We can study. Instead of leadership styles, we can consider leadership skills and competencies. What is their effect over the entrepreneurial experience? Also, we can study leadership skills, competencies of a person, and what is its effect over the entrepreneurial experience. We can further study. Similarly, we can also study what is the effect of demographic variables of the entrepreneur and what is its effect over the entrepreneurial experience, right? So like this, the specific research can be extended further, right? So that's all from me for now. This is about the recent empirical study I have. These are the references. So this is about the recent empirical study I have conducted, right? So hope this research will be useful. The main objective of it was to find out the relationship between leadership style and entrepreneurial experience, and what is the relationship between personality type and entrepreneurial experience. Really, which leadership style will contribute to entrepreneurial experience, better entrepreneurial experience. So that was my main objective, and we have got the findings also based on the data analysis, right? So democratic leaders are resulting into the better entrepreneurial experience in summary, and consultative style is resulting into negative correlation of the entrepreneurial experience, and extroverts are resulting into better entrepreneurial experience, right? So these are the summary of the findings. Okay, thank you everybody.